program is designed to provide general information with regards to the subject matters covered. This information is given with the understanding that neither the hosts, guests, sponsors, or station are engaged in rendering any specific and personal, medical, financial, legal, counseling, professional service, or any advice. You should seek the services of competent professionals before applying or trying any suggested ideas.
All right, here we are. It's Brian Sebastian, movie reviews and more. I feel like I'm back in regular Top 40 radio. I'm excited about this show because all of my friends are on. Let's start with the furthest. Let's start with Totally Vocally Tosh out of Miami, Florida. Linda Steele, Hotbot out of Chicago, Illinois. Nonstop Terry Marie out of Redondo, California. Mr. and Ms. America, David and Joanna Hairbedian, our friends out of I forgot where you're in Florida too. That's all I know. But the good thing about this was we haven't done 5 people on the show, and I've been waiting for this. And we're at a strange time where everybody is Skyping, everybody is streaming and stuff like that. But I couldn't be more excited. Yes, I am excited that everybody's here, all of my friends. So, Linda Steele, let's start with you. What's been going on with you?
Oh my goodness, Brian. It is always something. You know me. I logged onto my desktop for this show, and it turned out I hadn't logged on since last show, which I believe was the 17th of November. And so when I logged, I had these messages coming up, and I'm trying to shut everything down and make this work. And it just made me realize I am on the go so much that I just have my laptop and my phones with me everywhere I go. I rarely have a chance to sit at my desktop and actually enjoy. You wouldn't believe how big my computer screen is. I have a beautiful Apple desktop. This is like heaven here, and I never get to enjoy it because I am moving and shaking all the time.
All right, Nonstop, what's going on? What's been happening with you?
Well, I'm kind of like Linda. I'm like all over the place. Today, I'm actually in Sacramento today. Oh. So I'm actually in a hotel. So it's very dreary and rainy up here. So it's not as nice as it is in Southern California, but it's pretty up here. And I'm actually in Grass Valley, which is really close to where the ranch is. It's about an hour away from where the ranch is.
Cool.
So, yeah. So, and then this weekend, I am going to be covering a car show in Houston with Trixie.
Good. And she's in my neighborhood right now. She's in, I'm supposed to see her after the show. We'll see how I feel.
Yeah. So I'm excited.
And Vocally Tosh, what's happening with you?
Well, so this past weekend, hi everybody. How's everybody doing? Last weekend, I just wrapped up a new song that I will be taking out early next year. So I'm really excited with the new song. It's I'm just like super like I just want to put it out already. But it's a very fun song. So I did that, and today I did some Christmas shopping because I don't want to be doing it last minute because then I got stressed out. Like today I went shopping for 5 hours and I got 4 gifts. Like it's very stressful, but that was my Tuesday today.
And last but not least, David and Joanna, what's been happening with you guys? Because you guys are in Florida, and I love talking to my friends because you guys are doing so much stuff.
We've been doing a lot. We've been doing a lot of, for part of my platform as Miss America is I do royal princess crownings. And so I've had the privilege to get to crown all these amazing women. And we've been doing these princess crownings and releasing identity to them and crowning them a royal princess of the King of Heaven and reminding them who they are, and it's been really cool.
Yeah, I just want to highlight something. She did a princess crowning with probably, 12 or 15 or 20 women? I can't remember what it was.
We've had a couple.
Yeah, we had one with 30, but this one was really special because a lot of the girls were developmentally disabled in one form or another, and a lot of them don't get invited to events. Mm-hmm. And so for them to be invited and be the focal point of the reason for the invitation and to get crowned a princess and to walk away with that crown and that rose and to be treated like royalty was life-changing as these women, these young girls came into who they really are, because we're all fearfully and wonderfully made. And so it's just really beautiful to watch those transformations happen with the crown going on their head.
Yeah.
And I didn't get a chance to properly introduce you guys. So we met at last year at Eric Zuli's Golden Gala Awards in Costa Mesa, California. But however, Joanna, you've been doing many, many things. And I don't think there's ever been that record where you could actually say you're Ms. America for 2 straight years and not having to compete for the second year. Talk about how you started, and then David, follow her up as you're an author. And you got, I don't even know how many books you have now, but I still have the one that I still like, that one. Jet Ride to Hell.
Jet Ride to Hell, Journey to Freedom. We like to focus on the journey to freedom. We've all had a jet ride to hell of one form or another, but we got to focus on the journey to freedom.
Yes. So the Royal Princess Crowning is how I got to, what led me up to Ms. America was I initially entered a pageant for Ms. Orange County. And that was 2013. And I'd never been in a pageant before. My friends, they're like, hey, Joanna, you should do the pageant. And I said, well, why would I do that? And they said, because, you're a leader in your community, you serve, you do great things, for the community. And I thought, oh, okay. So I did. I got coaching and I ended up winning Ms. Orange County. And then the following year, they encouraged me to compete for Ms. Anaheim, California. So I won that title. And then now, a few years later, I won the title for Ms. America for 26 and up, and it's the 7th largest pageant in the world. And this is a national pageant, so it was very intense. And when I initially was Ms. Orange County, that was when I started my Royal Princess Crowning, and I did my first one at a quadriplegic physical rehab center for quadriplegic kids. And I worked with the firemen, and this was in Orange County, California, and I worked with the Fullerton firemen, and we put on this program for these kids that taught about how beautiful they are, and the girls, and I crowned the girls, and the firemen gave them a rose, and then we knighted the boys a knight of the King of Heaven, and the firemen knighted each boy, and then there was this one young lady who was in quarantine. And so we walked into her room, we took the whole thing to her. But when we walked in, she wasn't opening her eyes and she wasn't saying anything. And in my mind, I thought, well, this is strange. So I called her name. I'll just call her Julie. And I said, Julie. And she opened her eyes. And I said, we're here today to crown you a royal princess. And her eyes got big. And I didn't see behind me, but the nurses started crying. And then we crowned her. The firemen put a rose on her shoulder, and we blessed her and sang Christmas songs for her. And when the firemen put a rose on her shoulder, she actually started talking, and she had a trachea. Well, we found out that Julie had been non-responsive for 5 weeks until I called her name and we crowned her, and she had not talked in 5 years. And so we were all undone. I mean, it was like, it showed me the power of influence. When you have influence and you carry a title, whatever it is, you have the ability to change somebody's life for better, and represent what is good and impact them. And so that was the beginning of my Royal Princess Crowning program. And now as Ms. America, now I've been able to crown so many more women because I have a lot larger platform, and it's really been an amazing journey.
So
Joanna, real quick, as one of our comments came in from Pipe Man, Dean Piper, who owns the network, who we really like, someone wanted to know, how old were you when you started?
Oh, well, I don't know.
Ladies are just smiling on the hot.
I was 25 plus when I did. That's my answer.
I'm using that one.
That's right, 25 plus, baby. So you don't have to start young.
David, you were about to say something. Go ahead.
I was just wanted to really highlight that, the first time my wife won a pageant, we were actually dating at the time. And so when she sent me pictures that she'd won Miss Orange County, I thought, oh, well, this must be some sort of like a local little competition where they're trying to help these girls in identity, maybe some sort of a church deal. That's really cute. And I didn't realize she won Miss Orange County. You know, you got Newport Beach and Huntington Beach and all these beach babes. And my wife, well, girlfriend at the time, won, you know, Miss Orange County. And it would be like almost a year later before I would figure out that she actually was Miss Orange County. And then she won Miss Anaheim. And of course, we were married by then. And she said to me one day, she said, "Do you think I should run for MS America, Miss America 26 and up?" And every year I said, I'm not really feeling it. But one year I looked at her in the car and I said, yes. And this year, you'll not just enter, you'll win. And then she did. And she won the whole, Megillah. But the power of the crown is serving others and raising others up, not lording over, but lifting others up into their true destiny. And that's one of the things I really love about the power of the crown and the way my wife carries it in a serving attitude to raise up other women.
Yeah. And, it's amazing the impact too, because I get so much feedback afterwards. And when I crown a woman and I speak words of life to her as I'm crowning her, every woman that I have crowned has gotten tears in her eyes, because, as women, we're always giving, we're always serving our families, our husbands, our children, our community. So we give. But a lot of times we have a hard time receiving. A lot of us have a hard time even receiving a compliment. I had to learn how to receive a compliment. I would always kind of push it back. Oh no, this whole thing or whatever. And so that's another part of what I teach, is teaching women how to receive. And so if you can't receive a compliment, how are you going to receive a big blessing the universe wants to bring you? And, and also, if you're in a relationship and your boyfriend or your husband says, "Oh, you look so pretty. I love that outfit on you." And you say to him, "Oh, you're just saying that. I really look fat." Well, what you've now trained your boyfriend or your husband to do is to not compliment you because you couldn't receive it. And so it's kind of like a gift. If I pick a beautiful bouquet of flowers for you, and I think about you and your favorite colors and what kind of flowers you like, and I give it to you, and then you take the flowers and you slap me back in the face with it. That's what happens when we reject a compliment. Something as simple as that. And so that's what a part of what I teach, is to teach women to learn how to receive it. And so, a lot of them learn how to do that when they receive that crown. They get their own crown on their head. And I always have them say, "I receive it." And then they wear that crown everywhere. And it's a reminder, when sometimes we have a hard day and we forget, we get self-critical or what have you. And that crown is a reminder of who you are.
David, I'm going to come back to you in a minute. I got to flip over to Linda Steele out this way. So Linda, you do a lot of things like that, of service, of helping other people too, and motivating them, whether they're young people or even seniors. And then right after that question, go into what your daughter's doing now with micro-made meals.
Yeah. So I do. I help so many people, being a personal trainer and a well-being advisor. I have a new personality standing in front of me every hour. And some of these people I've worked with for years, but some of them are brand new coming into me. And it's so great working with them. I get to see the progression in their lives. I'll have people that I start working with and their confidence level is so low. They've been beaten down so long, some of these people, whether it be from their weight or, their looks or whatever it might be. When they finally come to me, I feel like I have to take some of these people and just treat them, so kindly because they've been beaten down so long. But what is so fabulous is watching them in such a short period of time become so confident and become so, they develop into a completely different person. And I've watched people go from being passed over at work for promotions and so forth to getting promotions and to being looked at leaders. Now they are doing things like, losing weight and eating right and, not taking criticism from anybody anymore. When they sit in meetings, whether it be at school or at meetings at the office, they raise their hand. They want to talk now because they have so much self-confidence. And it's so great when they come back to me on their next session and they tell me, "You're not going to believe this. In school today, college, I raised my hand for the first time. I used to sit in the back of the classroom since I could remember back in first grade, and I never wanted to be called on. And now they're sitting in the front of the class, they're engaging, and it's really great to see the confidence that they get. And I'm not sure exactly what it is. Maybe it's because I'm complimenting them on their good form, or, I'm clapping for them when they lose their first 2 pounds and 2 pounds every week after that. I feel like I give them a purpose in a way. And it's just so rewarding. And you can't help but have such a special connection with these people after a while. I mean, you just can't help it. You just can't.
And Terry, you have this thing where you always wanted to help inspire too. I'm starting to get used to saying I'm proud of Terry, but I am, because she's stuck around. She goes through a lot. And, and I see these things because we've all talked about anti-bullying. Anti-bullying is very, very important because a lot of people go through it online and it's not fair. A lot of people commit, suicide. They develop anxiety and depression, and that's not cool. I hate that. Yeah, talk about those things like that.
You're talking to me?
Yep.
Oh, I was bullied as a kid really bad. So I've kind of always dealt with self-esteem issues, because it's kind of what Joanna said about, because I always take compliments. I always think that somebody's saying something nice to me and they don't really mean it. Because so, I mean, as I've gotten older, I've learned how to take compliments. But, when you're picked out on as a kid by other kids, sometimes you think that you're worthless. You know what I mean? I had great parents, but it took me a long time to work through that. But, me being in fitness and being, a little over 50, I try to let women know you don't have to fall apart. It's just because you turn a certain age doesn't mean that you're worthless. You can be fit, you can be beautiful. You just have to learn how to take care of yourself and love yourself inside, if that makes any sense. So I try to always give that message. And none of us are perfect. And, you're always going to be striving to be better, but you'll never be perfect. And you have to accept that.
So David, when it comes back to this, a lot of these things you talk about in your book. So for the audience that's never heard or seen your book, which is one of the best books I've ever read, Jet Ride to Hell, talk about that, but also talk about Joanna following his question and answer, anti-bullying, and from your perspective also.
So yeah, my book, Jet Ride to Hell, Journey to Freedom, is my own story of my own personal journey. And so you can buy this on Amazon.com. You can download it on Kindle for $9.95, or the book itself is a lot of pages.
But it's a quick read.
It's a quick read.
It's a very good read.
It's written in vignette form, so it's about 370 pages, but people get it and they have difficulty putting it down, or they read it in little vignette sections, because each chapter kind of stands on its own, even though it's an autobiography. But it tells the story of, how I got off track as a younger kid, raised in a good home, but through rejection, which is interesting. It's about identity again. Through rejection, I always sought acceptance, and you can end up with approval addiction, and it shows up in a number of different ways. And if you have approval addiction through rejection, you're never, ever going to satisfy it with things in life from the outside in. You have to get it, solved from the inside out, not the outside in. So I sought, funds, money, this and that. I dated a lot. And one thing led to another. I ended up in the illicit drug business, and it started small. I was a small Midwestern boy in the Kansas City area in a small town. And it started off small, and the next thing you know, for lack of a better word, it snowballed. And the next thing you know, I was stealing jets for the Colombian cartel, the collies, and trading it for suitcases full of cocaine. Till one day I was arrested with a stolen jet, a Mercedes-Benz, a bag of cash. I didn't pass go. I didn't collect $200, but I went to jail. Went directly to jail and spent the next 20 years in federal prison. So I landed in Leavenworth Penitentiary. I woke up in a cockroach-filled cell with people that were doing life without the possibility of parole. And it was a real wake-up call for me. And that was my jet ride to hell that started my journey to freedom. And then after 20 years, I got out and put my life back together, had great family support. And then I ended up marrying Miss America. So there is a redemption story.
Yes, and you wake up as Mr. America.
Yeah, by marriage, yeah. More than diet and exercise. As Linda Steele will tell you, diet, exercise. My wife was like organic, but instead I just married into the position. So,
David, I just have to say one thing. I never heard that term, approval addiction, but you just saved me weeks of therapy. I never even heard that term, but you just made sense of so much in that one little sentence. I have to really think about that. That's really, did you make that up, or is that a real term?
it's a real term. I heard somebody say, a 700 Club did a piece on me. They came out twice and they filmed like 15 hours and then condensed it into like 6 minutes. And the first time they came out, they did all the filming and B-roll and everything else. And they called me like 3 months later, the head of their broadcasting system. And she said, I've been doing this 30 years, David. We need to come out. We didn't get your show. And I said, well, do you guys, did you lose it on the cameras or what? She goes, no, we've got it all. She said, but I went and looked at it. She said, I can't figure you out. She says, you come from good parents. There's no alcohol or drug abuse in your family. There's no sexual abuse, no physical abuse, no verbal abuse. She says, why on God's green earth did you steal jet airplanes for the Colombian cartel? And she goes, I can't figure it out. I'm coming out with my team personally. And I got to figure out why you went to prison. And she said, do you know? I said, no, I don't know. And so she came out and she filmed and she got done. And she said, I finally figured it out. She said, rejection. When you were young, as a smaller boy, you were smaller in stature and you were talked down to. So you ended up feeling rejected. And so you wanted to be accepted. So you did crazier things and wanted to accomplish more. And she didn't use the word approval addiction, but I picked that term up somewhere else. And if you're rejected, you look for acceptance through sexual relationships, money, having things that make you attractive, whether it's plastic surgery or Dior or Prada. You got to have the latest, greatest, neatest, widest, brightest thing on planet Earth. You got to be on the cutting edge. You got to have more degrees, more educational accomplishments. You got to get more medals. You got to win more events. You got to have more crowns and titles. It just never ends because it's rejection and you're looking to be accepted, and it's approval addiction. Here's one interesting thing, and this hopefully will help somebody. Rejection is an interesting thing. Because when you're in the arms of somebody in a sexual union, whether it's for one night or, whatever, you have a double, Eros payoff or a double benefit. It's the only type of activity that provides two. One is the physical pleasure of that act. The other is being accepted in the arms of somebody. So what happens is it becomes ubiquitous or common. So you bounce from relationship to relationship to relationship because you're looking for that approval addiction. Wow, somebody cares enough about me to sleep with me. Well, if they really cared enough about you, they'd wait till you were married.
All right.
Hey, Joanna, talk about what it's like to use your golden voice. What advice would you give the vocally Tosh in Miami?
Oh, well, when you have a gift of music, whether it's piano or singing or violin or whatever, that's a gift that you've been given. And it's a gift that you are given to bless other people with. And so I sing and I write music, and I am working on finishing a single we're going to release in the new year too. But what I found is I have sung to truck drivers in the middle of an alley that I don't even know, in a scary alley, no less. And I don't recommend that to everybody. I kind of felt the divine inkling to do that. But when you have your intuition speaking to you, I encourage everybody to listen to that intuition, because it's that little still voice, whether it's, to sing happy birthday to somebody. Like I sing happy birthday in Swedish because I'm half Swedish and from my mom's side. And so that's something that people aren't often going to hear, so it could be, I've sung to a stranger in a restaurant just because they looked like they needed a smile, and I overheard it was their birthday, and I said, "Hey, can I sing you a birthday blessing in Swedish?" Oh my gosh, so those are the little things, and how we can use our gifts every day, And I always ask for an opportunity to either give somebody a compliment, or maybe I can read a poem over them, or give them a word of encouragement, or sing a song, or whatever it is, and they'll remember you for the rest of their life. They'll remember that moment that you did that for them, and you don't even know them. So that's what that's my tip for today is, pray and ask, hey, who could I sing to today that needs a song, or that needs whatever, whatever is your gift is. And you're going to be amazed at how your day transforms, and how somebody else's life gets transformed.
You can pray and go on a treasure hunt. Just say, God, find me one of your treasures today that I can be a blessing to.
Yes.
And treasures come in every form, because they're God's treasures. And by imparting or blessing them, heaven smiles.
You can even do a stick drawing. Okay. I'm not an artist. I can sing and write music, but I'm not an artist. And so I was hanging out with a group of people this one day, and we did that, where we prayed, and I drew a drawing of a rainbow and a smiley face, and it was something else I can't remember. And so then everyone did something, but that was my stick figure. And then we asked, heaven to bring us to the right people. So I ended up meeting this woman, and we were kind of passing, and she looked at me, and so I smiled at her, and she smiled back. And I said, "How are you today?" And she said, "Oh, I'm okay." I said, "Well, can I show you a drawing I did?" I said, "I'm not an artist, but I feel like this might encourage you." And so I showed her the drawing of the rainbow and the smiley face. And I just simply said to her, I said, "You know what? The blessings of heaven are going to come your way, and you're going to have a smile on your face. And would it be okay to just bless you with a quick prayer?" And she started crying. And she says, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe that you're telling me this, because I was feeling really hopeless, and I was feeling like my life was over." So something like that even if I can do a stick drawing and it can speak to somebody, you can do anything.
Tosh, how do you like that guidance?
Wow. By the way, I love the energy that you both just give. It's so full of positivity. I feel so blessed to be able to be here and talk to people that I've never met before, and just how they can impact me. So thank you, Joanna, for that. I definitely do agree that it's very important to be able to touch someone, if it's about with your music, your lyrics, a book, you never know who needs to hear that or read that. So that happened to me right when I first released my first song. I was really nervous about it, because you're like, okay, I hope people like how I write or how I sound. And then this one person commented on my video, and she was like, "I really needed to hear these lyrics, because I'm going through a bad breakup, and you have some way kind of healed me from this breakup." And I was like, oh my God, I did that. So I can totally relate. I've always wanted to be that type of artist that with my music, it can reach to anybody, and they can connect in different ways that I hope they can connect. So thank you, Joanna. I'm definitely going to I love singing, and I always, you remind me, because I did that I work at a restaurant. So we wear masks at our restaurant. So it's it's very hard for people to see if you're smiling or if you're super welcoming. Everything is with your eyes now. So a couple of weeks ago, there was this little girl who they were coming in because it was her birthday, and she was like, "Yeah, it's my birthday," and I'm here that made me smile. So I was like, "Hey, I'm a singer. Do you want me to sing you a happy birthday song?" And I sang her a 10-second, and she was so happy. She's like, "I wish I could hear I could see how you look because you just made me really happy." So yes, Joanna, me and you are on the same page. And I wanted to ask you guys, I saw that you have a virtual church media, which I thought is really, really cool. So can you tell us a little bit more about it? I'm pretty sure since the pandemic, it has gotten, since online, you probably have had a lot more people tuning in, and right?
Yeah, the virtual church media, it's an interesting story. I'll capsulize it real quick in the interest of time economy. But I had a church with about 40 people on 40 Highway in Independence, Missouri for about 5 years. And I took a flip minnow camera, like $100 camera, and I would record on 720p, which was like state of the art at the time, the services, and nothing went viral. And one day I was like very discouraged after about 5 years. And I said, God, what's this all about? You tell me to do this on Friday nights. I do it. You know, signs and wonders happen. Miracles happen in the services. You won't let me grow this church. It's small. I'm doing this uploading on video. We had like 3/4 of a megabyte upload speed. It would take me 36 hours to upload the video from the service. That's how bad it was back then. And so all of a sudden, I heard the words. I'm like, what's it all about? And I heard the words virtual church. This was in 2014. And it was like a USB went into the side of my head, and I was downloaded all this information. And I just sat there stunned. And I went to the computer for the next day and a half, and I searched, and I found out everything that had been downloaded was true. And so I came out on a video, and I did a teaching called Virtual Church, which is on demand from the palm of your hand. It's the future of ministry as we're coming into a whole new world where global ministry, instead of going to nations, you can go there on video. Somebody on a rice paddy can pull up their Nokia 1000, and on a 3G network, they can stream you on low resolution. And so people all over the world. And so Joanna and I met shortly thereafter, and about a year later, we ended up, courting and then getting married. And I went from 40 Highway with 40 people on a Friday night. We ended up getting invited onto a TV broadcast. And it was a 1-hour live broadcast. The first time I was ever on TV, we were thrown in the deep end. And that launched our ministry from 40 Highway with 40 people to the super highway with 100 million homes. And then we did that for the next 5 years, and we became producers. And so everything worked together for good. So don't despise the day of small beginnings. And you never know, when you're faithful with little, God will give you authority over much. But back to virtual church and its popularity today in 2020 is this. People laughed at me in 2014 when I came out with that virtual church vision.
They're not laughing now, David, are they?
No, they're calling me for consulting advice. So sometimes you're on the cutting edge and you get cut, and sometimes people don't see the vision that you have. Now all their churches, sadly, many of them are closed, and they've moved to virtual church. And so they're like, we didn't see it, you did. And I said, I wouldn't have seen it unless I was shown it. So we're all in this together.
And we have different ministries that we are involved with underneath virtual church. So we have a discipleship program where we send out hand-bound study Bibles.
Yeah, bonded leather Bibles.
Right, they're beautiful.
Yeah, so they retail at about, probably $40 to $85. We buy them wholesale, and we send those into prisons around the nation. So we have a presence with Heart of America Prison Ministries, heartprisonministries.org. That's been around for about 25 years. And we've sent in over 10,000 bonded leather Bibles to individual prisoners where they get them at mail call. They get their name called, and, Hairbedian 27530-004, you've got mail. They hand back this leather-bound Bible, and it's like, somebody sent this to me. And it's just a life-changing experience. And so those are lifetime copies of the Word. And we're getting ready to order another 250 Bibles here probably this next week.
And so $25 pays for a Bible to be shipped and sent to, and we have a waiting list, which we're really wanting to we want this waiting list fulfilled. Our goal is to have that fulfilled next year, but we have over 2,000 people that are waiting for a Bible because they want to change.
So they want to get off their jet ride to hell, whether it was drugs, alcohol, bank robbery, pimping, whatever it was, the worst of crimes, and they want to get off their jet ride to hell, and they want to get on their journey to freedom. So heartprisonministries.org. Heart of America Prison Ministries is the ministry, and we're a 501c3 not-for-profit organization, been around 25 years. So that's one of the things that's heavy on our heart, remembering the prisoners as it bound with them. I was in prison, and you came unto me, Jesus said. When you did it unto the least of these, my brethren, you did it unto me, Matthew chapter 25, verses 31 through 46. So.
And we donated over 15,000 copies to the prisoners. And,
they have this book.
You're right, A Jet Ride to Hell, Journey to Freedom. And here's what's amazing about this book. It doesn't matter whether you're in prison behind bars or you're in a personal prison in your mind. this book will absolutely transform your life when you read it. You know, I did the journey insights at the end of each chapter, and I had to read every chapter, and I was impacted, you know, by David's story. It's just, it's amazing. And so if you've lost hope or you feel hopeless or lost, you know, this book is going to give you hope again.
You know, another interesting thing is the same type of miracles that God did in my life in a prison cell. When people read the book, God does the same types of miracles for them. And that's what the journey insights at the end. It's like a, you know, one paragraph, and it captures the whole chapter in like a few sentences. And then it asks a thought-provoking question to move you to action. So people pray, or they begin to apply something, or they forgive. And then the presence of God just releases over their life like it did for me, because God's no respecter of person. So what he did for me, he'll do for you. Just have to ask.
Yeah.
And Linda, with that, let's talk about your relationships with the nuns. I always find that fascinating. I think of you all the time helping those nuns, and you've got a great photo of you, you know, social distancing with the nuns with the mask on, which I think is great.
So my favorite charity is Little Sisters. It's St. Joseph's Little Sisters of the Poor. And what it is it is a retirement home and home for the elderly, and it is run by nuns. And what I love about this is it's not funded by the Archdiocese. It's not funded by the state either. It is funded by benefactors and you know, volunteers and people who come in and donate money and items to the residents. Now, the nuns took the vow of service, and what they do is they serve the elderly men and women who are there. And it is just the most fabulous place I can imagine. My mother actually lives at one of the locations not too far from me. So, of course, you know, I have it in with the nuns and Father Tom, and, you know, he sits at my mom's lunch table and so forth. So it really is such a fabulous place. And if you could just see how the elderly are treated there, they are treated like royalty. They really are. One of the things that I loved about this place when I walked in is how clean it was and how fresh it smelled. It did not smell like a nursing home. It didn't smell, I mean, it was like, and it was decorated to the hilt. Every holiday, they have it decorated so beautifully. You just can't even imagine. I've been to numerous fundraisers. We had a golf event recently, a few months back, where I believe they raised $157,000. It came just in the nick of time because they are spending so much money on COVID and all of the rules and regulations that they have to follow with COVID, and the hand sanitizers and the masks, and you know, all of the other protocol. They have apartments, which is where my mom lives, in one of the apartments, and they can't even house 8 of the apartments during this COVID time. So they cannot generate any revenue from 8 of these apartments because they have to hold them open in case somebody gets COVID and they have to quarantine them. So they lose money every single day, every single month on just COVID alone. And so as if it wasn't hard enough for them to operate under regular circumstances, you know, because like I said, they're only getting their money from, you know, benefactors and so forth. As if it wasn't hard enough under regular circumstances. Now they have to contend with this, and it's become very difficult for them, but they are still managing. They are still doing great. And I'm just so proud to be part of their team, because when I see the residents and how well they're taken care of, I just can't even believe my eyes. Just one more story about them. The very first day that I went to visit this place, I walked in and they gave me a tour through the infirmary, which is the nursing home section. And every single resident, man, woman, it didn't matter what condition they were in, they were sitting up in their chairs. They had a full face of makeup. Their hair was done. They were dressed beautifully. They just looked so happy and so sweet and so clean, and they were fed well. I mean, everybody in the whole place looks just so well taken care of. I can't say enough about it. I can't say enough about what a great job these nuns do on a daily basis.
And Linda, talk about your daughter's new company.
Oh my gosh, my daughter, I'm so proud of her. I'm having so many bragging moments today here. So my daughter started a company called Macro Made Meals, and it is a meal prep company. And she is just killing it. You know, it started with meal prepping with me just as a family. We would post pictures on Facebook like, oh, here's, you know, my girls, and we're on a Sunday just hanging out together and doing meal prep together. And I would post the pictures, and then, you know, as one by one, as they got a boyfriend, the boyfriend would come and help on a Sunday, and they would enjoy and partake, and, you know, every now and again they'd sneak in a 6-pack, and, you know, so they'd really have fun with it. And when all of my friends and family and clients started seeing all the fun we were having and we had pictures of the food and everything for the week, people were contacting me saying, hey, can you guys cook for me? Well, I, of course, said, I'm lucky to be able to cook for me. But my daughter said, I'm going to do it. I am going to start my own business, and I am going to start cooking for everybody. So it started with just, you know, slow friends and family, and then it just grew. And she is about to take a step that I'm so proud of. Her website is almost done. It's going to be a full functioning website where you can place your orders on the website instead of texting her, emailing her, calling her. It's going to cut her work in half. It's going to become a lot more automated. We've gone through and we've kind of moved things around on the menu, and I gave her some ideas. I'm the nutrition consultant, and so I made a few changes about how she prepares some things. We made some changes to our whole, you know, operations, productions and operations, because some people don't necessarily want to have macro-friendly meals. They're not doing it because they want to lose weight. They're doing it because they don't want to cook, but they don't necessarily want chicken and broccoli at every meal. Right, Brian? I sent you some, and it wasn't necessarily on the, you know, weight loss program, but it was delicious, and you didn't have to cook for yourself.
I was very, very happy. I said, let me be the guinea pig. When I first met Linda Steele, I said, you're going to end up doing meal prep. You remember me telling you that, Linda? What are you doing right now? How many years did I tell you about that?
Yep.
So I'm always telling people things in advance because they don't see it, but I'm seeing it, sort of like David and his mom. So here's a couple of little things too. Lugnut 6 says, Merry Christmas to all you young ladies. He didn't say anything about the girls or us guys, but it doesn't matter. It's about the women. But also, is your daughter's food company able to send nationally? They sent it to me. I got it late, and I still loved it. And I couldn't see what it was. It wasn't their fault. It was just I got it during Thanksgiving week, and the mail system and everything was slowed down. But I still enjoy it. I can't wait to get some more. So I'm very, very happy about that.
Yes, you'll get more, and Kendall is very excited about working with you. And she told me she has to get in contact with you. But we had a 6-hour meeting yesterday, Brian. I'm not even kidding you. And every day has been so crazy like that. We're going out to produce companies. We have been working with specific commissary kitchens. There are so many things that have to be taken into account in order for this to really go smoothly, and where there's just a lot of decisions going on. And we now have 4 people involved with the decision making, which is actually, it sounds like it's more confusing and maybe not so efficient, but it is really going well because each of us, we're all hustlers, we're all moving and shaking, and we all have our own responsibilities, and we're getting shit done. I mean, we are just every day we're hustling. In fact, I have a meeting with them. I just got a text right before we went live. We have a Zoom call at 8:30. Everyone needs to get on a call. We have more decisions and more pricing to go over, and things to decisions, just things to do. So we're just
yes, Terry. I will share maybe a meal with you. Maybe I'm being greedy about it.
I need my macros, Brian. So I am so busy, and my goal is to get back up on stage again. And where Linda knows, 90% of it is your diet. So help me because I don't have time for meal prep here.
Our website is going to work where there will be drop down boxes. You get to pick. So at the end, when you pick everything and you see what the macros are, if you, that's too high in fat, I'm going to have to switch to chicken instead of steak. It's done. Or I really want that rice, but carbs are too high. I'm going to have to go with the cauliflower rice instead.
So I could just give you like, this is what my macros got to be daily, and then you could help me with my meal plan. Because that's where I have issues. I'm a gym rat. I don't have a problem getting to the gym, but it's just meal prepping because I get so busy, I forget to do it. And then I pick something up, and then I'm like, afterwards, I'm like, oh God, I ate too many carbs.
You can't do it. If you track your food after the fact, and there went that.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you have to do it before. So I decided that I definitely this year need to work with a meal prep company, so I don't have to worry about it. Because if I have to worry about it, then I'm not going to mess up.
Joanna, we got about 4 minutes. You got something to the right of you I think you guys should talk about.
Oh, yeah. So this right now in our current environment, being healthy is super important. And so we got introduced to this. It's a micronutrient formula, and it increases your immune system, builds it up, helps repair the DNA, stuff like that. I've gotten to meet the formulator, the scientist, Dr. Prasad. This guy is one of the most brilliant doctors I have met. He's the world's first radiation biologist. He got his degree in 1963, and he's dedicated his whole life to helping the body repair from radiation. It started with the soldiers, the U.S. military. He worked with them for 6 years and formulated this micronutrient product. And so
the amazing thing about the product is it balances your system like almost perfectly. And we've introduced this product, and you can find it at designedforyourdna.com. Designed, the number 4, yourdna.com. And so you can go learn more about it. But what happens is it actually helps your body kind of turn some DNA switches back on. And we have people that are on hundreds of dollars worth of health supplements that aren't working for them. They get on this, their body starts functioning, and they don't need their other supplements anymore. I'm not giving any health advice or telling people what to do. They need to go to their doctor, their homeopath, naturopath. But almost everybody we introduce to this are sleeping better. They're going to REM sleep, and they don't need their other supplements. So it comes in a bottle with 180 capsules. It's like $69.95 a month on preferred customer. And so designedforyourdna.com, designedforyourdna.com, micro daily EMF. And so the first radiation biologist, and there's 20 years of research on this. They've tweaked it specifically for EMF and the 4 and 5G that's come out because people have so much oxidative stress.
And we're going to interview Dr. Prasad on your show next month. And, people ask me all the time, what do you do to look healthy or, to look young? And
because my wife's 175 years old.
And for those of you that don't know the story, I was actually very sick. Yeah, I was very sick several years ago with, I was exposed to toxic mold. I had 9 strains of toxic mold in my body. And so traditional medicine couldn't help me. And I had very serious issue, which is a whole other story. So I've done thousands of hours of research. So everybody always asks me all the time, well, what do you think about this? And again, I'm not a doctor, I don't treat, cure, recommend anything, but what I do for myself. And so everything that I look at, I look at the research, I study it. And so my friend is actually the one that told me about this when I was having some lung issues, and I love it. I love this product. So, and
it also helps your body strengthen its immune system against many things that are out there today.
Right.
And so we got about 60 seconds. Give your social media links real quick. David and Joanna.
For micro daily EMF, designedforyourdna.com, designedforyourdna.com. For our online ministry, virtualchurchmedia.com. And for our prison ministry, to donate for Bibles for prisoners, and the money actually goes for the cause, heartprisonministries.org. Heart, H-E-I-R-T, heartprisonministries.org. Change a life, one Bible at a time.
Linda Steele.
You can find me on social media. On Instagram, I am Linda Steele Fitbod. On
Vocally Tosh.
Well, you can find me on Instagram as Vocally Tosh. Made it very easy. And you can search me as Nathasha Rumbos. That's my artist name. You can find me on all streaming platforms, Spotify, Apple Music, whatever you got listening to, you can pop me in. And I have a website as well, www.natasharumbos.com. But there's going to be a new one in the works. But for now, you can definitely go and catch up with me there.
And Nonstop.
Terry Marie Nonstop on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram. And then my website is terrymarieofficial.com.
And follow the girls on TikTok because Terry asked me to say that specifically. No, she didn't. But I want to build up her followers and Vocally Tosh. We have to be supporting everybody because we live in a different world now. So David and Joanna, thank you. Linda, thank you for coming back because I watch you golf now. I don't know if you're any good, but we'll see. Nonstop and Vocally Tosh, thank you, everybody. And for everybody out there who's chiming in for the first time, if you see someone without a smile, please give them one of yours because the world needs it. I'm Brian Sebastian. This is Movie Reviews and More, and we will see you next week.